4, 3, 2, 1. You're listening to The Secret Stage, featuring Jared, Ramses, and Miguel, a Scarlet Rhapsody podcast. Hey everyone, I'm Jared, aka Jared the Greek, right here on The Secret Stage. With me is Ramses and Miguel. How you guys doing today?
Doing good.
And Miguel, you got a live stream set up?
Yep, live stream going on. Today we're playing, I believe might have been either the first or the second indie game of the month that I talked about in our earlier podcast called Reaper, Tale of a Pale Swordsman.
All right, and we'll have you talk about that in a little bit. But first, unless anyone has any site or show updates they want to bring up, we can get on to what you're playing.
You might as well just get started with that.
Well, let me go ahead and start since I'm streaming. Obviously, Reaper. I've also been playing NES Remix from last night's stream.
Which was awesome.
Yeah, and if we've got any viewers right now, and if anyone's a repeat viewer from yesterday, thanks a lot for watching. We appreciate the support. And I've been playing here and there a little bit more my Wii U games. Smash Brothers, can't wait to get into the fold of Smash Brothers, some more Hyrule Warriors. That's pretty much it. And, there's a baby in the background. But pretty much after all that, I've been waiting. Yeah, I've been anticipating Guilty Gear Xrd that comes out on Tuesday.
Yeah, me too.
I thought it was already out already.
It's out in Japan.
Okay. Well, shit.
I'm probably not going to pick that up for a while, but
I'm
curious how it is after so many years of had a sequel in that series.
That isn't Overdrive or Overture or whatever it was called. That was on the 360. That wasn't so fun.
Yeah. Well, we've had some bad sequels in that series that seemed experimental more than anything else.
Yeah.
Wasn't there a fighting game to start with?
It was a fighting game. It is a fighting game. It's just
Okay.
Overture was a RPG adventure fighting game thing.
What?
Yeah. But I mean, you have stuff like Dust Strikers, which
Horrible.
Not that. Yeah, and what's it called? Ikaruga or Ikaraga or something like that was Itsuka, that one, which had the really weird turnaround mechanic because it was meant for like, hey, if you want to have 4 players on once, I'm like, well, I like the idea of having 4 players at once. This turnaround mechanic makes it a pain in the ass when you're trying to have a one-on-one fight. And
that's why I actually
overshoot your opponent, and now you're facing your back to him, and your opponent can immediately take advantage.
And this is why I actually went with that's why I bought that game for like $1.
Well, a buddy of mine picked it up because he didn't know that it was going to have those problems. We each wanted a new Guilty Gear game. And so we were just like, well, last Guilty Gear we played was a Guilty Gear, one of the 1 modifications, or maybe Guilty Gear 2. I can't remember. But it was one of those that was just like, it'd been years since we played a Guilty Gear game. It's like, hey, here's Isuka for like $10. Yeah, let's grab it.
Guilty Gear XX was the last fighting game before Isuka, and then after that was Dust Strikers. Then after that was Overture, which I completely skipped. Then after that, they released Exit Core Plus.
Oh, I forgot about it. Yeah, that. But that was just a remake, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, pretty much it's X2 with just a little bit updated characters and a couple of extra stuff going on. Oops.
Guilty Gear is weird because of just the insane,
That's what I forgot to do.
way that they've actually numbered their games and what have you.
I forgot to put the audio on the game. You'll see an infinite window, people. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Well, while you're getting that set up, I can quickly go through the games I played because this has not been it. Since I'm preparing for a flight across the country, I've been busy with 800. Really haven't had the chance to game.
Okay, now I got the audio back on. We're back in. Well, I don't know if you people notice, I'm just playing the tutorial to show so that way we just kill some time before I actually play the game.
All right.
So.
I'll get us back to what you've been playing. my week's been slim because life's been crazy and flight back to California. So I've been playing more Atelier Aisha and really liking this game. Having a lot of fun just wandering around, experimenting with different things, and just kind of unlocking all the different locations. I unlocked some locations that were well above my level, and I was like, oh, this was a bad idea to go here. But I like the fact that it's one of those games where you can do that. I haven't had that in an RPG for so long, where you can accidentally go to an area where you just get your butt kicked, and you're like, oops, right, not supposed to go there. I thought it'd be fun. And the only reason I had to clear the area was because I hadn't saved. And I was like, oh, I've done a bunch of stuff, and then went to this one area that was just one area too far, and, well, that'll get you, so. But I survived it, and I got some good experience and some rare drops, at least rare for where I'm at in the game, because I'm supposed to be about 5 levels higher before I go to that area.
Now the wilderness is very safe.
Then I had to play test a present for someone, because when you grab a used game, I always get worried. So play tested that game. Not going to say its name because the person who the gift is for might hear this. But it is a game that I'll probably talk more about in a later episode. And
the person getting that gift, you're getting Put Goes to the Circus.
hey, that's for my next horror review set. So, you know, stop ruining that for everybody.
Joke there gets old. Anyways, keep going.
And then I played a little bit of the Vidar demo because I was thinking of maybe live streaming the Vidar demo at some point, and I just needed to remember if I knew how to go through some of the mazes and what have you. And then the new version of it, for some reason, was having problems with my computer, which I blame on my computer, not so much on his release. But I'm probably going to re-download a copy of it and re-go through it. My computer gets really finicky. My laptop gets finicky with stuff sometimes, and it really annoys the hell out of me. But beyond that, I haven't really played much because life's been crazy. Do you, Miguel? Or Miguel? Ramses.
Life has just been equally as crazy. I went to the hospital a couple days back, so that's not fun. Other than going to the hospital and being in an incredible amount of pain, I haven't really been playing that much, or maybe I have been playing a lot. I don't know. I've been playing the game. I've been playing the game for a review, One Way Heroics. You hear a lot about that much later, so you gotta look out for that. What else have I been playing? For some reason, I had insane, I had this insane conniption fit to play RoboCop vs. Terminator for the Genesis the other day.
I wouldn't mind to replay that. The game's hard, as I remember. Actually, that's all I remember about the game is it being hard.
Are you playing the Genesis version? Yes. It is incredibly balls to the wall. Oh my god, what am I doing with my life hard?
Well, how many... Are the other system versions that different?
The Genesis version is very different from the Super Nintendo version.
Oh.
The Super Nintendo version is very muted. It's very slow paced, but it's a good game. Mm-hmm. While the game on the Genesis is just it's just Contra with the RoboCop skin. Okay,
I need to actually try that.
Yeah, it's the one where we made way back in one of our earlier episodes. We actually made fun of the game because they had this absurd code to put in like an M rating mode.
Yeah.
Which turned on the insane amount of gore. Which I turned it on. And I'm like, nowadays this would pass for a teen rating. This with that alone.
Funny how that is, isn't it? You go back to Mortal Kombat 1 and you're like, really? People were freaking out about this?
Yeah. And then you look at Mortal Kombat 9 and you're like, oh my god, you can see the giblets.
Yeah. Hell, you got like God of War and just Bloodbath Supreme and a sex scene. So.
At the same time, actually.
And female nudity in a few cases too.
Yeah.
Because I remember in the first game, Athena is wearing this like sheer top. And I'm like, well, A, thank you for being very, very accurate to Greek mythology. And B, how did this get through with an M rating? Like, how did this not get an AO? Just, there's a sex scene, there's topless women, there's blood everywhere. What did they say, Greek mythology? So, that's what it was like in ancient Greek times. I'm like, not exactly. I went over the list of Greek weapons. We didn't have these crazy-ass blades that someone could throw from their hands that were chained to their arms because of magic.
Not yet, at least.
Literally, they are chained to his arms because of magic, people. Spoiler from the game.
What are you talking about? God of War?
Yeah, God of War.
Oh yeah,
you also like Hero.
Magic, of course.
Well, it's still a fun game. Anyways, last game I started playing. Actually, 2 other games. Once again, like, they updated San Andreas again. It's not as forked as it was before, but it's still forked.
Yeah, that's too bad.
Like, they actually did fix the performance. A lot of the performance issues that I had before, but it's still a forked game. Like, it's still like this game at this point. If you can find it for like less than $2 or $3, you're better off doing that. Don't pay full price.
Okay.
And
Andreas, just play it on a PS2.
Gotcha.
You can probably find it for pretty cheap if you actually can find some used PS2 games. That game was fairly common. I mean, not if you original release will cost you an arm and a leg, but if you find the second release of it, you can find those for fairly cheap.
It's funny, I actually found the first release game while I was at work, but I won't divulge into the details.
It doesn't matter, unlocking the thing is not really worth it.
Oh yeah, but still, it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, I had literally told my coworkers, we can't sell it here, we gotta sell it somewhere else.
Yeah.
Because, like, we can get more money out of suckers like that.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, it was my birthday on Thursday.
Yay!
And
happy birthday to you, Ramses.
Thank you. So I decided to buy a game with the birthday money, and I decided to buy Super Smash Bros. for the 3DS.
Yay! A new challenger has arrived.
And I need you to like thoughts on the game. It's great if you're not planning on buying the other version of the game, which is the Wii U version. If that's the case, if you're not gonna buy that one, then fine. This game is perfect. But if you already have the intention of buying both the 3DS and the Wii U version, this is you're better off just buying the Wii U version, bar none. But I'm not disappointed so far. The game is really fun. I'm having lots of fun with the game. I'm finding myself playing a lot of Fox and Captain Falcon all of a sudden. I never really used those characters up until recently.
I like Fox. I never really liked Captain Falcon. I'd find him his moves were all like dash attacks, and I always found myself falling off or nearly falling off the ledge, and it just frustrated me.
That reminds me of a match I had with one of our many friends, Deb. Me and her were fighting, and instead of trying to do an up dash to go into the ledge, I stupidly did a down smash attack, and yeah. That was the end for me. I just turned up the system, I turned off my computer, and I'm like, screw this, I need some sleep. I was like, literally, fuck this bullshit. I screwed the pooch hard. By the way, she's insane in that game.
Yeah, she seems like the kind of person who would be fairly well practiced in it.
Yeah, but other than that, that's pretty much about it.
All right, so not a bad week for us. I mean, even despite Ramses being sick and me being mentally sick, I guess, he still got some gaming in, which was good. It's always good to do that and remind yourself if you're feeling stressed, sometimes you just need to shut off the world and turn on a game. And I probably should have been doing that more. I probably should have had something on my 3DS just right by my computer, and I could have just turned off the computer, grabbed the 3DS, and done something, but I just didn't really feel like playing anything.
Oddly enough, I didn't start really playing, I didn't really start gaming until I actually, more seriously, until I got, Smash Brothers, so in some ways I think, yeah, having a game nearby, right on hand like that is kind of a good idea just to get rid of stress, because ever since I started playing, my pain started to go away more gradually.
Yeah, there's definitely a connection, and I wish there was a medical journal that would do a thing on this, because I think there's a connection between video games and stress relief, and even video games and just kind of getting rid of negative feelings in general. I mean, unless you're playing a really terrible game, you know, it just triggers more negative feelings. Yeah. It was like our producer is like, hey, you know what you need to do? You need to do a movie game thing where you go through a bunch of movie games. You could cover the Terminator, and you could cover Tracy, and you could cover. I'm like, just stop. You don't know that these games are some of the worst games ever. Like, it's what I told her. I was like, she's like, they are? And I'm like, yes, they are. The Nintendo versions of Dick Tracy and the Terminator are two of the worst games ever.
But in contrast, the Sega CD version of Sega CD game of Terminator, really good, but the most hardest game ever made. And the Sega Genesis version of Dick Tracy, pretty good.
I've heard that about the Genesis version of Dick Tracy. I would actually like to check that out when I have the chance. And then yeah, I've heard the Sega CD version is pretty good too. I heard the Sega CD version is pretty good too, despite the really crappily rendered cutscenes and stuff like that.
Of Terminator, yeah, it's really good, but the problem is, it's like that game, like the cutscenes are laughably bad because it was 1990, and also it was just that game was balls hard. Even on normal, that thing would like kick your ass. Like some guy like literally like, you know how they do like tool assisted speedruns. That game, the game nearly broke the guy who made that speedrun.
Yeah, I don't count tool assisted speedruns. I've seen a couple because I saw one for Super Mario 64, and I watched one for actually no, maybe a legit one for the Wayne's World NES game. That may have been a legit one actually. That was trying to be one by one of my friends. It's like, dude, someone actually did this. And it's just the speedrun for Wayne's World.
Really?
Now I need to watch this. There's no reason to watch this. This game is really bland and just a really bland platformer, but I need to see someone speedrun this game.
Which one?
Wayne's World for the NES.
Oh, let me see.
It should be really easy to find. It should only be one of them. It's like a 4.5 minute video or something like that.
I found one for the NES version.
Yeah, that's the version.
Oh my god.
Because it's just a bland platformer, so if you know exactly where to go, you can just rush through. That's what the guy does.
Yeah, that's what he's doing. Anyways,
video, but like I said, my friend did the whole. Somebody did this, and yeah, that's somebody did that.
Well, someone had to.
Well, no, you don't have to. There's games that don't need speed runs.
But you want to be look. Here's the thing. Here's how I look at it. I want like some people want notoriety. They want to be like, I'm the guy who beat Wayne's World. I'm the guy who speedrun, who did a task on it. And they'll forever have that claim that they did that. Oh my god, it's the most saddest thing ever.
Oh, I remember watching a video several years ago, and a guy was talking about games from his past. One of those games from his past was the Ren and Stimpy Game Boy game. And he's like, I went and speedran this and put it on the internet, and I've seen no one else who's ever done this. I don't think anyone else has ever played the Ren and Stimpy Game Boy game. You might be the only guy who has ever played that. He's like, and if you want to, after my review, you can watch my speedrun. Okay. You can find those kind of weird speedruns, which are always fun. I mean, hell, I went through and watched that for Game Gear Sonic the Hedgehog because I was just like, hey, Sonic the Hedgehog was on sale on the 3DS. I'm like, oh, it's the Game Gear one. I remember the Game Gear one. My friend had that. I kept dying on level 3. And I just went and watched someone's playthrough of it. And I'm like, bravo, sir. You played through the 5 levels of this game enough to be able to master it.
Alright, so, yeah, mediocre games you have to speedrun. Oh my god.
Well, yeah, but like you said, you want to be the one guy who's ever done that. Yeah, there's some games you could do that on.
And it's like Euro forever.
For Goonies stuff, when my footage died, and I needed to, I was like, well, maybe I could look through other people and see what other people have for footage. And I was like, I don't want to use someone else's footage. It feels like cheating. I'll grab screen grabs out of my fucked up footage. But when I was kind of going through that, I saw someone had a speedrun for the Goonies game, and I'm like, oh, well, there you go. Someone actually took the time to do that, so I probably could, actually. If I memorized for a few more of the hidden item locations, I probably could speedrun that game. because I never found the. No, I think I had the raincoat. It was one of the other. No, I had the helmet. I didn't have the raincoat. Having the raincoat would make speedrunning that game a lot easier. I didn't have the raincoat. I had the helmet, and I had the fire suit, and I had the earmuffs, and I think the roller skates or whatever. I think it was the shoes. I think I found the shoes. But other than that, I don't think I never found the raincoat, so that would make it possible. But I like beating the game. Once you kind of know your way around that game, it's not that hard. Anyhow, let's move on to the news instead of spending our entire time talking about speedruns.
Yeah.
So, not a lot of news this week, people, but, not a big shock. It's December. People just want to go home and have hot cocoa, and I don't blame them. I want hot cocoa.
Yep.
So, like, we had that weird week yesterday, like last week.
Yeah, that threw us off and ruled our entire show, and I kind of dug that. And, hell, there's technically some leftovers from that we could actually talk about after the news. Because things are just that crazy, folks. So, going through here, one of the things for those of you who are fans of this franchise, Killer Instinct on is that 360 or is that Xbox One?
Xbox One.
Yep. The Xbox One Killer Instinct is getting a major update. It'll feature holiday accessories for a couple of the characters, and the original version of Riptor, because they only have the cybernetic one in the game right now. This is a massive update that'll be 10 gigabytes, which is crazy large, and I'd love to go into a whole rant about updates are getting way too big, but I'm at a point now where I'm like, no, screw it. We all know updates are getting way too big and coming way too often.
Literally, the updates are going to be as big as the games.
Like, I actually had that for, I don't remember what game it was I was recently playing. Oh, it was Castle Crashers. And I was like, Castle Crashers. I'm like, oh, this game's pretty old. I haven't played it in a while, but there's no way there's a new update. Oh, there's a new update. And it was like 1.4 megabytes. And just watch the whole thing go whoop, whoop. And you're like, oh, well, there it goes. It just downloaded and installed in the time for me to begin starting to complain about this actually having an update. And my friend was on a headset and he was laughing. He was just like, yeah, there you go. So yeah.
In contrast, there was like a 3 gigabyte download for GTA San Andreas when I played. So it was like, what the fuck is going on here?
And it just drives me. The problem is, a new update always happens if, and specifically if, I'm going to either want to show someone a game, or I'm going to play a game with someone. Where it's like, oh no, dude, let's both load in Castle Crashers and play. I'm like, yeah, it sounds like fun. I haven't co-oped in a while. There's a demo. Like, of course, there's a demo. An update. And then same thing with like other games I want to show people. I'm like, oh yeah, I want to show you this one game. Update. I'm like, I'll show you this game in 10 minutes. It's I don't know. How's your day been going? It's like, dude, updates. Stop coming at like inopportune times. On a happier note, I know this is a game you're looking forward to, Ramses. Arkham Knight is getting a prequel comic, which takes place right after Arkham City and kind of explains the aftermath of the Arkham City events and how that will lead into Arkham Knight. And I'll admit, the Arkham Unhinged comics are actually kind of cool. So this seems like kind of one of the better ideas. And honestly, the only real good comics, in my opinion, that have been coming out of DC lately have been their not main continuity comics. Like stuff they're doing that ties into video games, or the stuff they're doing like Batman 66 and the Batman Beyond comic, or all the Beyond series comics, honestly, because Superman Beyond is pretty decent, are all really enjoyable, while everything else they've been doing is not as good, in my opinion, and other people might disagree with me. So this is kind of cool. It might be a fun read for people who are fans of the Arkham series.
Yeah, the thing is, like, what I'm always wary when I see something like that is like if how much into the continuity it's gonna be, and how much you're gonna reference it in the actual series. And I remember they reference a lot of the stuff that happened in the comic in Arkham City, like hardcore.
Oh, did they really?
Like to the point where it's like I felt like there's a missing game at the end that they didn't talk about. So they're like.
One of the things I actually liked when they did the Injustice comics that really expanded on that backstory and how just everything went to crap in that parallel world.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was yeah, because like you only get like a certain glimpse of it. With Injustice, at least you get to see everything else.
Yeah, and likely they had that huge backstory pre-written, and they're like, well, in the game, this and this and this are the only pertinent pieces of knowledge you really need to have.
So, it's my thoughts. I'll give it a shot when it comes out.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting read. On the list of because we have to, yet another Amiibo Defect. This time it's a 2-sword Marth. Seriously.
Taking bets now on when that reaches like when that thing hits 2 Gs.
Yeah, really. The legless, as a follow-up, the legless. How do I say that? Peach with no legs. Sold for 25,000. Blows me away. Look, I know there's a market for defect toys, but at the same time, I don't know. Like, that's a lot of money for a defect toy.
I'm looking at this. This is horrible.
Oh, the Marth? The Marth is awesome.
It's like he's got two right arms.
He does. It's awesome. And he still has like melty drippy face. So he's just like, yeah, I'm a Marth golem.
It's like a nerd.
Reginald, thank you for coming into the game. Thank you for coming into the stream. Sorry to interrupt our show. But thank you for coming in. Yes, I am new to this game. But continue. Sorry, I just needed to throw a shout out to the person that was watching.
That's perfectly fine. Thank you very much.
I just feel that in like the Toy Story universe, you know, poor double arm Marth is like, they made me wrong. Help me. Help
and then like out of nowhere, here's Peach just floating like, do you think you got it bad?
And then Samus is just laughing maniacally as she's shooting everything with her double gun arms.
Like, what's the next defect that's gonna come out? Like Double Fire Mario? Okay.
Oh, I want Headless Luigi.
I think Luigi is.
Behold, Headless Luigi. I haven't touched an Amiibo in person, so I don't know if I thought they were just gonna be injection molds, and then all the the more complex stuff was the base. Because if you're doing injection molding, there's no excuse for having this kind of an error, because you can't with injection molding. It's just not possible.
Okay.
So I'd actually have to hold one of them in my hands and see what they're made out of, so I could figure out what the hell is happening.
When you get into town, you can hold our Leaf Amiibo in hand.
I think that's a proposition.
Well, no, I mean, guys, I'm sure they have them on display at other places where, I could, if not touch them, at least have them close enough to me where I can notice whether or not they're injection molds or if they're done some other style. Because it's just confusing. This shouldn't be happening. Okay. But then again, I also thought, I'm like, but you know what? Maybe stuff like this happens all the time. Maybe at like Hasbro, they're like, ah, crap. Another headless Optimus Prime. Okay, throw it in the pile. And there's just like this pile of like headless Optimus Primes. And they just, but because these are unique, because these are Nintendo, it's getting reported on versus if we went to the Hasbro factory, we'd find like legless Twilight Sparkle and like, 2 right arms, Megatron and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I have to think, it's like quality control is already thrown out the window at this point.
Like I said, it just comes down to how it's produced. That's really what would have the major impact on the character and how.
And question, Marth is one of those figures that they said that's already been discontinued, huh?
I think so. I think it's on the chopping block list. Which
yeah, so it's like he's gonna go for like 5 Gs at the end of all this. I guarantee it.
I'm hoping to find him in a bargain bin and then just be like, well, I have a Marth figure even though it's not that great looking.
You find him and he has the double arms like, haha, I gotta make 5K out of you bitches.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make Skrilla!
But moving on from toys, to some disappointing / annoying news.
Here we go.
The demo for Final Fantasy 15, for the 5 of you out there who really care, will be released with and only with the initial release of Final Fantasy Type 0. So probably like what they did with Final Fantasy 12 with Dragon Quest 8. And Type 0, actually, I've always had an interest in. I always thought it looked kind of cool, and its playstyle and everything seemed way better than most of the recent Final Fantasies, and I am not even holding my breath for 12. I'm just far from 12. For 15, I'm not even holding my breath. Everything I see from 15, I'm like, F it. This is gonna be the same crap from like the 13 trilogy that's just, why have a game that has variety and fun when you can have a game that sucks? Square, I like variety and fun instead of games that suck. I think the sales for Bravely Default prove people like variety and fun over games that suck. So, just saying.
Miguel, you about to say something?
No, I'm just agreeing with Jared's point with people like variety, stuff like with Bravely Default, that kind of stuff. I enjoyed Bravely Default, the demo for Bravely Default. I haven't picked up the game yet. I want to at some point, maybe. And then of course,
I like the crap.
Then of course the sequel's coming out on it as well. Bravely Default 2.
Yep.
Bravely Seconds. Because the game, our first game didn't have to make sense with the name. Why even bother with the sequel?
So the Type 0 HD release, you know, it's a game I'm interested in, and I would actually like to play because it does have those variety of character classes and what have you. It's also one of those things where I'm like, this is the only way you're releasing this 15 demo is just to try to get people to raise your sales numbers for Type 0, and I get that. Look, I'm not. It's really weird, because on the one hand, I understand the business model of it, on the other hand, it's kind of dickish.
Well, that's the thing is, that's something that's something that Squaresoft has been doing way before this. I mean, they've been doing this in Final Fantasy. They've been doing this in Final Fantasy 7 with Topo number 1.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
They did Topo number 1, and then Brave Fencer Musashi had Final Fantasy 8.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they did a demo for 9. I don't know what the hell they did for 10. 11 was an MMO.
They might have had a demo for 9 with those demo CD packs that PlayStation gave off with their magazine way back in the day.
Oh yeah, I think it was an official PlayStation magazine thing.
Yeah.
Alright.
Parasite Eve.
Oh, okay, Parasite Eve.
What's that?
1999. Bushido Blade 2, Great Defense of Musashi, and Final Fantasy 9. Actually,
Cool.
Final Fantasy 8.
Okay.
So they've done the packaged demo. It just seems like in a day and age like this, you'd want to bring it out to a larger market.
Yeah, I mean, it's proof that Squaresoft has some idea what's going on, but at the same time they don't.
Yeah, well, it's because for every step they take that is like not dickish and very customer friendly, I always feel that they take like 3 steps the other direction afterwards. Like, hey, people who like our company, here's this nice little treat. And they go, yay! And they go, okay, now we're gonna have a crap ton of DLC for our Final Fantasy 13 games, and it's all gonna cost a lot and never go on sale, of course. Oh, and we're also, if you want to download any of our games on your tablet, that's cool, but you always have to have an internet connection going to play them. It's like, oh, fuck you, Square.
And we'll never remake Final Fantasy 7.
But we will port it. That's good enough, right?
Again.
And sell it for $20.
Yeah. Fuck you, Square.
And it's a PC.
Basically,
It's more about getting the PlayStation.
I don't get a Chrono Trigger 3, but we get like the absolute shitstorm that is Final Fantasy 13, 2, and Lightning. The entirety of that fucking cluster F of a series.
Because they're like, people are like, people like Lightning, and like, no.
Let's play a game that has absolutely no variety. You're going to max out every character tree because you have to before you can unlock the next aspect of your character tree. Oh, also, you're just going to be running down a hallway with a handful of occasional branching paths. Oh, and our plotline is going to make absolutely no sense. Our voice acting, it's going to make you want to grind your teeth. But, you know, other than that, it's a great game. Have you checked out the paradigm system? The paradigm system is pretty shut up. Just shut up with the paradigm system. You cannot use that as your one good thing of this game. Screw you. The graphics are pretty in the paradigm system. Shut up.
Yep.
For every flaw that game has, you cannot use those two as the defense. I'm sorry.
Alright, so what else is there, like good man?
On the next stage that could be disappointing but could be awesome, NetherRealm Studios, the creators of people who did Mortal Kombat 10 or 9.
Well, they're doing Mortal Kombat 9 and 10.
Yeah, 9, 10, and Injustice are working on WWE Immortals for iOS and Android.
Yay.
Which, on the one hand, I'm like, hey, a studio that has proven they can make some really good fighting games is doing a WWE game, which is honestly the one thing I want. But it's on portable, and I know it's not going to play like I want it to play. And if I'm going to play a WWE game on portable, I might as well play that card game that Ramses was into for a while.
I'm still playing it.
Oh, you're still into it? Okay. You know, so it's
I haven't seen recently. Anyway.
So it's one of those things where I'm like, I don't know, it could be good. It just seems kind of weird to me, and it's that thing where I was so excited at first, where it's all like, Mortal Kombat Studio working on WWE game. I'm like, yes! And I go into it like, oh, it's an iOS game.
Well, NetherRealm Studios has been working on a lot of iOS games lately. Some games you didn't even know they made for iOS. They made the Arkham City, the Arkham Origins mobile game recently.
Mobile game, or is it the companion game? Because there's a difference.
No, the mobile game. That's in like the mobile game, not the Blackgate.
So I like to take any game that has the title to console game on iOS as the the companion portable thing for it, where it just gives you maps or whatever little thing that it does with it.
Yeah.
It is one of those things. A lot of companies do is they just release mobile games as a companion game.
I mean, despite some of my kind of issues I have with Injustice's controls, I will say that NetherRealm has made some really, really good games, and you're right. I don't know what their background is on the portable side, but as what I've seen, with my own experiences, that NetherRealm does a good job, and I'm curious as to what this game is going to be, but I'd really like to just have them make WWE games from now on. Because I think if you had those games with a good fighting engine, and you had people from all the way back from like the 70s all the way to now, not every single person, because that'd be like a 300 character roster, but you had like all the huge popular guys, and you took out all the people that no one gives two dams about.
Hey, Rollerball Rocco, he was the very first TV champion.
Well, if anyone who's achieved a championship, I guess could be in the game. I'm saying we don't need Fandango in the game, okay? I'm saying we don't need, like...
Fair enough.
We don't need... I'm trying to think of some of, like, the real BS people from, like, the 80s. Who are those two brother guys? Are they 90s? They didn't even have, like, a code name. They just were, like, this such and such and whatever. Okay. Anyways. There's been some BS fighters throughout the years in the world of wrestling, so you can cut those out and then give me like Sergeant Slaughter and Hulk Hogan and classic Iron Sheik and modern Insane Iron Sheik. Both versions should be available for play.
Well, here's oh my God, there's this amazing game. You guys need to look for it. It's the most batshit insane game. This was about to be released. As a matter of fact, it was called WWE Brawl. And like literally, the final boss was Mecha Vince McMahon.
That's awesome.
Like literally, it was him. What's up?
Mecha Vince McMahon, really?
Why not?
Yes.
Like why not?
It's the greatest. It was the greatest thing ever.
If I did a wrestling fighting game, I would totally have that too. I would just make it over the top.
Oh my God.
As far as you can take it, I don't know. Although I did like that one video you showed me of the person who made the modern wrestlers but put into like the old Genesis WrestleMania game or whatever.
Oh my God, it was so much better. Okay, I found the picture right here. This is production art from that game that got canceled. Hold on, let me put it here in the chat. You guys can check it out. It's literally the greatest thing. Your brains will explode from how awesome this is.
I mean, as a person who's a fan of like Guilty Gear and Blaze Blue and Melty Blood and stuff, I like the weird characters. And
Ramses,
yes.
Post that onto our Twitch thing. I mean, if we have people watching and listening, he said I'm gonna post it to you guys. And I think they might want to see what we're talking about too.
Good idea.
You know, started up there again, but try to get our listeners who are actually listening in live. You know,
well, it's one of those weird things where you sit here and you go, okay, we got the show going, but then we're also live streaming, so getting, paying attention to the people in the stream is always difficult, just because it's taking a routine we already have and then adding in a whole other layer to it.
Yep. Stuff to get start to make it much better, you know?
Yeah,
we're a growing podcast, Jared. We gotta take as much vitamins as we can.
Oh, Ramses.
Take our vitamins, say our prayers, all that good stuff.
Now I want Mr. T to show up and be all like, drink your milk, stay in school, don't do drugs. Mr. T says so. I guess I don't have a choice in the matter.
Oh no, it's like I'm so reminded of I'm reminded of Saturday Night Live with drink your drugs, eat your vitamins, eat your milk, eat your drugs.
So anyways, back to it, guys. Any more new stuff going on?
The last part of news here I thought might be kind of interesting, just especially for me and Ramsey since we're fans of this franchise. A tactical game featuring the Transformers. It's going to be called Transformers Battle Tactics. It'll be coming up next year. It is going to be an iOS, Android game as far as I can tell, which I'm kind of fine with for games of that genre, though that likely means it's going to be a freemium game and all the Transformers you want to use are going to cost you like $5, so a piece, so have fun with that. But who knows, maybe they'll do it in a really nice way. It is going to feature 75 characters and an art style that is a takeoff of the Generations Combiners comic series, which is great, except for I have no idea what those designs look like because I do not read the Transformers comics.
It's some G1.
Okay, I'm fine with that. The game is going to allow you to play as both Autobots and Decepticons and even make a mixed team. To which I go, okay, well I guess they have to come up with some storyline that would allow for the mixed team kind of thing, but I'd be in for that, honestly. And I like tactical games, so, it's not coming out until next year, but it was kind of a little preview story I saw that I thought was kind of a cool thing to bring up.
Well, they kind of already have a game already on iOS already like that. They have Transformers Legends already, which is pretty much the same concept. I'm pretty sure a lot of what's being borrowed from that game is being used into that game. And the stuff with the Combiner stuff, that's actually the current toy line right now with Generations.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty much the game that's being set up right now is in conjunction with the current toy line, which is I cannot wait to do stuff with that stuff.
It's weird. It's like as if Transformers is just created to sell toys for Hasbro, but that can't be right.
No, not at all. I don't believe it at all. Like, I mean, it's an amazing cartoon, an amazing comic book franchise. Like, really, it's like people are saying that, like really, like people are complaining that it's all the toy commercial. No, there's more to it.
G1 is.
I love. Yeah, this shit is nickeling and diming us, and I'm proud of it.
Hey, there's worse series to be fans of. I mean, I do give crap to animated because I don't like the art style, but at least I like the voice acting and stuff like that. And I like all the stunt casting they did a couple times. That I loved Prime. Prime was enjoyable.
Oh, Prime was great too, but I love animated.
I know a lot of people loved animated. I'm the one person who looked at those character designs and said, I need to find the creator of these character designs and beat him to death with a rock.
So I can point you that direction on Twitter.
Because
what?
I know it's always like the over the top thing that everyone knows. I was like, I will kill you because internets. But it's just like certain character designs are really offensive to me, and the animated character designs are just offensive to me and what they look like. I'm like, this is terrible. Whoever did this needs to be fired and not design anything ever again.
Well, he's been pretty prolific after that. Like he did the Scooby-Doo's. He did the second to newest Scooby-Doo series, not the newest one. And then he did. He's right now he did work.
Did everyone have like overly large chins and weirdly proportioned legs, or did they all?
Yes.
God.
And his current before and after he started working on Ben 10.
I don't care. I don't watch Ben 10, so it doesn't affect me at all. All the Ben 10 files out there can get angry at crappy character designs. It doesn't affect me one bit.
All right, and then yeah, but like I said, I'm done with this game. I don't know. At this point, like, just give me the toys, damn it. That's all I want.
Yeah.
Like, I am here because I am a consumer whore.
Well, you're a crazy toy collector person, is what you are.
Yes, I am. Amongst other things.
Yeah. I should grab some Transformers trades and maybe raid some Transformers on my flight.
Like I said, I gave you some recommendations from the Zoro file.
You did. But it's just I'm not going to have a chance to hit the comic store between now and my flights. I'll have to do that when I'm down in Orange County. I'll have to hit Beach Ball or something like that. Grab some Transformers.
Alrighty.
You know, that's basically the news. And slow news week, and hell, one of them was just me talking about the Transformers comic.
Anyways, I want to say that the also with newsworthy stuff. I mean, sorry to continue on this. So continuing on newsworthy, Capcom did their fighting tournament this weekend as well. Yesterday.
Oh yeah, congratulations to Momochi.
You guys probably have a couple little things you want to talk about. So
yeah.
Yeah. Hold on, let me get adjusted here. Okay, let's do the shit.
Man, we had I mean, we can talk about the winner, but everybody online knows who the winner is. Why should we even mention it? Look it up. The few things I do want to talk about is, have you seen that Street Fighter V tech demo that they showed off?
It's not even a tech demo. Yeah, it's a tech demo, but it's like 2 actual players playing.
I would like to say it's a tech, even though it's 2 actual players playing, which is cool and all, it's still a tech demo. Because A, those health bars are still very alpha, and B, the character models, looking just at the gameplay itself, just look like clay models. Like it's been sculpted out of clay, 3D scanned in, and they're working off of that. They haven't been refined yet. And so far, even though we talked about it a little bit last episode this week, I find that it looks identical to Street Fighter 4.
A little more flashy in my opinion, but it doesn't look like a huge enough upgrade. I'll agree with you there. This is one of those strange things where I did not expect them to announce this, but every time I look at the graphics, it doesn't feel like it's a PS4 game.
Yeah, to the point where I'm like, like, is there a possibility that this game could be on the PlayStation 3 as well?
That's
but I don't think so. I don't think they're going to do that, because they would have already said it if they were going to. But they need to do something to up these graphics, or up the ante, because this doesn't look like a PS4 game to me.
Yeah. And again, how I said, this looks
so far you can go with a fighting game. I get that. But if you look at like the footage from last round on the PS4 for Dead or Alive 5, that looks freaking amazing. You know, and I'm not sure the Tekken footage that they've shown for Tekken 7, I'm not sure which system that's on, but that looks better than Street Fighter 5.
That's arcade for right now.
Oh yeah, it's arcade, thank you. So when I'm looking at the arcade design for Tekken 7, I'm looking at the PS4 design for Dead or Alive 5, and then I look at Street Fighter 5, I'm just kind of like, meh.
Yeah, me too.
Gotta wow me, people. I'm not easily blown over. I'm not gonna kneel at the shrine of Street Fighter. I've put up with too many jerk people who play that game, and really, really dumb cosplayers who cosplay from that game, and I'm done. I'm like, no, you gotta wow me. You gotta bring me back with something big.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I can stick with my preferred 2D fighters like Blaze Blue and Guilty Gear, and eventually I'm gonna grab me some Persona Ultimax. Because
remind me if I do go up there to bring that game with me.
Alright. And so it's different.
Well, we only have a Marina and not Ultimate.
Yeah, we got the first.
I'll rock some Marina with you guys.
Yep.
Just give me a speed character or a ranged character, I'll figure it out. Actually, looking at the characters, I'm already fared really well as to who would be ranged and who would be speed. So shouldn't have any problem with that. Just play as I guess. Figure this out.
Yeah.
Anyways, keep going.
So it's definitely one of those things where I think Capcom has to kind of win me back for Street Fighter V. Street Fighter 4, I was just so excited that, oh my god, new Street Fighter. And so I liked that, but while I played it, I was like, this doesn't play as smoothly, or that's not the right word, it's not smooth. I liked it for what it was. I guess that's what I gotta say, but I think the problem with Street Fighter is I played so much Mugen before Street Fighter 4 that because of the way I could modify how my characters could use their special moves, suddenly characters who I started to get really good with in Mugen, like Gaia, I can't use him for crap in the game because it's the whole back forward crap. And in Mugen, I could set him up to be quarter circle forward for his thing. I also did the same modifications for a Boletta from Darkstalkers, and that actually worked out really well for me as well because all her back forward crap is nice, but if you can make it to quarter circle forward, it's so much more natural. And it's just one of those things where when I played 4, that screwed me over on the charged characters. I don't know. And that weird cheap difficulty that Street Fighter can have when you get onto like the higher difficulty modes. You're like, BS that you can pull off a combo like that. No one can pull off a combo like that. BS. I don't know. Like I said, the 5 has to win me over. Otherwise, I'll stick with what I'm with. Well, what about you guys? What are your feelings on this?
Again,
and let's take the PS4 out of the equation. Let's just hypothetical. All 3 of us have a PS4. So take the system out of the equation. Are you in for this one?
No. So far, I think I'm exactly in the same boat as you, Jerry. Capcom has to really wow me with bringing it back. All I see it's another Street Fighter 4. It's another Street Fighter 4 mix with just destructible environments and cheesy little gimmicks of having a ramen bowl on your head.
I didn't think about that, but yeah, that's a good way of describing it.
Yeah, and then not to say much, but Guilty. I mean, I'll save all reviews for Guilty Gear until after I've played it. But from what I've known, Guilty Gear is using the Unreal Engine. I don't know if Street Fighter 4 uses the Unreal Engine or not. That's something that's off. It probably isn't.
No, it isn't.
No, at least these 4.
It's really different. But yeah, it's 3D cell shading that Arc System Works did. And when I first originally heard it, it's like, oh, don't tell me they're going. My division, I was like, don't tell me they're going, the Street Fighter 4 route where it's going to be that kind of thing when I heard with the Unreal Engine. But no, when you look at it, it looks like your typical Guilty Gear game, 2D sprite type of thing, but it's actually all 3D models, prettier. You know?
Yeah.
And this is just going off of basically, I'm just basing all these assumptions off of pure watching trailer videos for it and everything and looking at it.
Yeah.
Not off of actual gameplay. That's going to be, for next week when we do next week's show. When I talk about it. And
you, Ramses? Are you bought and sold yet, or how's your status on Street Fighter V?
I need to wait and see. I'm a little bit more excited than both of you guys because I think my relationship with Street Fighter has been a little bit more welcoming than you guys. It's just the problem is right now for me, I need to see more of the actual combat. I want to see someone sit down and tell me what's going on with this game in terms of its combat style and stuff like that. Are we gonna have parries? Are we gonna have just defense? Are we gonna have both according to what I've been hearing? I want to know what can be considered destructible environments. Is that gonna hinder combat like it does in a lot of fighting games? Can we turn it off? I want to know if combat is gonna be stiff like Street Fighter 4. The problem I have with Street Fighter 4, it feels a little too tight. And the thing is, I kind of want something more in the style of Street Fighter 3, where it's even though I feel people say that's a lot more stiffer, I feel I feel a lot more comfortable playing Street Fighter 3 than Street Fighter 4.
Yes, I'll agree with that one.
Where it's I think the flow of how that game plays is a lot more to my taste than Street Fighter 4. Even though if someone put a controller in my lap and said, "Hey, play Street Fighter 4," I'll gladly play the hell out of it.
You know, I love Street Fighter 4, but I think my heart belongs to Street Fighter 3, and to some extent Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. But Street Fighter 4, it's up there, but it's not in that. It's just like we have better alternatives. I want to know what's gonna separate Street Fighter 5 from Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo from Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, and from Street Fighter 4 and Ultra Street Fighter 4. That's all I want to know right now. That's what's keeping me from being excited. I want to know what kind of changes this game's gonna have for me to be excited for, so I can say this is the game I want to be excited for. Because if this is gonna be a cardboard copy of Street Fighter 4, I might as well just play Street Fighter 4. If it's gonna be a cardboard copy of 3, I'll play 3. If I play Alpha, it's like cardboard. If it's Alpha, it's Alpha. I will play Alpha. But if it's something that's something different, I'll get excited. But right now, it's just with no information right now, I just can't get excited for it. But I'm cautiously optimistic of the prospect of this game.
Alright, that's fair.
So it's like, yeah, it's back to Ramses can be excited about anything. It's just right now, I'm more cautiously optimistic than all of you guys.
Yeah, and like I said, you have had some slightly more positive experiences. I remember I was going online, not all the time, but I was doing 2 or 3 times a week. I'd go on for an hour or two, especially if a friend messaged me, and I would jump in for some Super Street Fighter 4. And I remember one time I had to leave the game because I was gonna get. And basically, family's like, hey, we're going out to go get food. I'm like, cool. And I just like dropped out, and I got a message in my inbox from someone saying like, hey, you know, and just a whole load of insults because I left right before my fight with that guy. This guy was like running the table, and so because I left, he thought I was chickening out and decided to insult me. To which I said, I'm not playing this online anymore. Like, I dealt with dicks via microphone, but I can always turn off the mic stuff. But actually getting a message from someone who decided to insult me because I was gonna go get dinner. I'm sorry I didn't stick around for a fight, and I actually wanted food.
Well, not just that. I think for me, like I said, I'm more welcoming experience because like I played with my friends over at Shinjuku Station. They played all the time. And I feel like with them, they're a lot more inviting, and a lot more understanding of stuff like that. And you know, we get to talk, we get to shoot the shit while other people are playing as well. So I guess that's what that's where that interest comes in. So it's like, it depends on who you're playing with. It's like if you're with the right people, you can get a good experience. But I understand too, like your point of view as well. That's not so it's like, I don't know.
See, I'd rather pull out Alpha 2 or Alpha 3, invite some friends over, and just enjoy some fun with friends. But the online experience on 4 was just so much of it that just made me grind my teeth.
And maybe Street Fighter 4 was not the kind of game you're looking for. Maybe that can be it, because like I say this to people, Street Fighter 4 is not for everyone.
Yeah. Oh,
that game is like, you know, it's like 2 steps back from 3.
There's certain things there's certain things they did that I consider are step backs. I don't like the fact 3, every character from every country spoke in that country's language, or an approximation of it, which I really liked. And in 4, your choices were English or Japanese. In 3, they had the parries, which were awesome, and in 4, you did not. But the one thing they did keep from 3 that I thought was a good idea was to choose which super you want. So you don't have to memorize every single super. You're like, oh, this is the super I want to use. I'll just memorize this one super that I really like.
And that happened after 4, I think. After the initial
that was something Super Street Fighter 4 had.
Yeah. Or excuse me, 4 took that back from 3. So I dug that. And then everyone just played as Ken and used his kick move, his super kick move, because everyone likes that one. So.
Well, flowchart Ken, man.
Yeah.
You can't argue that.
Yeah, Ken flowchart.
Yeah. Oh, like seriously, that joke can be applicable to that game even today, because Ken is still one of the most widely used characters, and he's still one of the most widely, like, you know, flow-charted, like, oh my god, he's gonna do this now, isn't he? Type character. So
I make fun of it, but you know, one of my best friends and I, you know, have our Ken versus Ryu fights, because he was always good at Ryu and I was always good at Ken, so it just became that's how we play. It's like, okay, well, we're ending our matches for the day, so let's just switch to Ken versus Ryu and just end this properly.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's certain games that, especially for fighting games, we'd have a tradition where, you know, we'd have our warm-up matches, usually using, you know, one of our best characters, and then our final match would be usually set up for something. So like in the Budokai games, which we usually both chose a power character. You know, so it'd usually be like Brawly versus, you know, Super Saiyan 4 Goku or something, or Brawly versus, you know, Super Saiyan Vegeta or something like that. Or some variation thereof, depending on who the superpower characters they had in the game were. And in King of Fighters, it ended up being like a... depends if we played team or not, but we played solos. It ended up being Terry Bogard versus... goodness... probably Mai Shiranui would be my character. So we'd have like a Terry versus Mai match, because those were our two best characters. Unless we had one of the games that had the boss characters available, then it would become Geese versus... like Rugal. And that would always be fun. So you know, it's one of those things where, you know, that's just how we play. And so I always feel bad being a Ken player, because I realize if you looked at the charts of how many people play Ken, he's probably the most played character. And I'm usually Mr. like, oh, I don't like using the characters that everyone else likes to use. But then I realize that like Street Fighter is the one exception to that, where I use the same characters everyone else likes to use.
I'm gonna tell you this right now. You're not that far off from the truth.
Because if you go back to 3, I like using Yang, and I like using Ken. Not Yang. Oh, what the hell's his name?
Yun.
Yun. Thank you. I like using Yun, and I like using Ken. And I know Ken is still super used in that game, but I don't know how many people use the twins.
A lot of people do.
But yeah, I've noticed that.
It's already kind of universally known that the Shoto cones are gonna be the ones that are gonna be used a lot. Same with Chun-Li, people use Chun-Li a lot. But yeah. Other than that, it's gonna the height. Like after that, the other characters that are highly used are Yin and Yang, Remy, Urien, and I think Makoto. Yeah, Makoto's also on that list as well. Holy crap, she can hit you like a horse. She can hit you like... Yeah, she can hit you hard.
Yeah. Well, she's one of the characters I was glad made a comeback in 4, or I think it's Super 4, was her official return. I like seeing the 3 characters showing up in 4, which I'm sitting in my mind going, is this just retconning that 3 ever existed? And whatever, if the stupid continuity, hell, like, you guys pointed out, Charlie's in 5s. Is that a point of just saying, screw it? Here's continuity. We're kicking it straight in the ass out of this house.
You see Charlie, but he has like a thing like he has a weird thing in his head like Urien does.
Oh, I haven't seen the character design for that.
Well, it's at the end of the trailer. You see him come back. He puts his glasses on, and his forehead starts to flash, and he has that same like glowing thing that Urien and Gil has.
Cyborg zombies, Charlie.
Yep.
Which makes sense because like every time they have to do an alpha game, they have to kill him. He's died in each one of those games canonically.
Yeah.
So it's like he might as well just be a zombie cyborg, whatever at this point.
Well, that's Charlie's whole deal is that he's dead. So the only way you can truly bring him back in like the modern era is to bring him back as like a weird cyborg zombie thing.
Which is if you can retire Guile and that's the de facto like charge guy, I'm pretty down with it.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, just for shits and giggles, why don't you just bring in Remy?
Yeah.
I don't like for anybody. Anyways.
So we've been thinking about different characters. Oh gosh. Who was it? You know who I actually liked? The dude from the Jaguar guy.
Oh, Adon.
Adon, yeah. I actually liked Adon. Yeah, I liked him a bit.
Adon's a beast!
Yeah.
Adon's a beast in 4, like, holy crap! Like, it's one of those things where I look at someone play Adon and I'm like, I can never learn how to play this guy. Like,
I got pretty good with him, because he was basically a super fast version of Sagat with a handful of other moves that actually were a lot more user-friendly for my playstyle than Sagat's moves. So I actually did really well with him, and I got really good with him right around the time I stopped playing. And I was like, oh, damn it, I probably, because I never saw anyone use him on online matches. So I was like, oh, I wonder if I got really good with him, if that would throw...
Were you playing just as Super Street Fighter 4 started?
No, I quit shortly before Arcade Edition came out.
Okay, then, because like if that was the case, then they're in higher competition. 8-on was starting to be used a lot more because when Super Street Fighter 2 came out, like literally the upset of the century happened, and at Evo, it was Gamer D, a Korean fighter fought Justin Wong, and he beat him in straight matches with 8-on.
Oh, nice.
And after Justin Wong had just opened his mouth like he always does, and talked some major crap about how 8-on's not just tied to your character and all this stuff. Here's this Korean guy, he beats ever-loving crap out of him in like 3 straight.
Yeah. No, because like I said, when I say shortly before Arcade Edition, it was probably like 5-6 months before, but it was one of those ones where I never saw anyone online using it. I mean, it was a lot of Cammy usage, a lot of Ken, occasional reuse, the rare Bison, which always throws me off whenever I see someone using Bison. I'm like, oh yeah, someone's using Bison.
Well, if you play me, I'll always play Bison.
I know a few people who are good with him. I've never been particularly good with him. Charging character, but he does hit like a frickin' monster when he hits you. Oh, and Juries. Way too many people using Jury.
Yeah.
But, that's pretty much it for a lot of my thoughts. Anybody else have any thoughts about Street Fighter 5 or Street Fighter 4 or anything in general?
No. I'm good.
Alright, so what's next on the docket, my good man?
Well, I'm done with my list. Like I said, I know the two of you guys had some things to talk about, like how you wanted to bring up Street Fighter 5. Alright. Or actually, it was Miguel brought up, you're right. Sorry, Miguel. And we also still need to do you guys head-to-head review when Miguel can take a breather from the game.
I can talk about it as I play. I'm kind of deal with it. But Ramses, how long have you been playing? How long have you played One Way Heroics? How many times have you died?
A lot.
Yeah.
Like, a lot. That's how I'm gonna leave it. Because I lost count.
Yeah.
But getting a little bit into maybe some of my review. Like I understand. I think like I said when I started seeing you play the game, I understood something. I like it's one thing seeing you play the game, but another thing playing the game physically.
Yeah.
The game itself, it's like a roguelike, but you can't go back to do things. That's the thing. That's the thing that's insane. You can't go back to where you were. You can't go back to a town or anything like that. You're always in perpetual motion. That's the thing that surprised me about the game. And it's like that's the thing where I think the majority of the difficulty is, and you have to learn the layout of wherever you are. And worse yet, the layouts are always randomized.
That's always if you start off with a new world every time. You can always go back to the same world that you were in if it's still available.
Yeah.
You have. So if you're familiar with the world around you, you know where to go. You know what dungeons to avoid. You know what dungeons to get in there. You know what else can kill you. The few things that I've noticed while I was playing the game is that I would get scrolls to make my weapons stronger and my armor stronger, and I would use them, and I would continue playing the game like nothing. And then next thing I know, it's broken, it's gone, it's disintegrated, it's unequipped. It's like, what? So all the stuff that I tried to get from the weapons that I collected it was worthless.
Yeah, that's a trapping from roguelikes in general. Like that's something that they do anyways. So it's like, in one ways, I'm not really surprised that they do that. But but you know, I just wish there was I wish there was an indicator telling you, because like there's an indicator, but it's like it's so like in a mountain of all the stuff you need to keep track of, it should be the most prominent thing that you should be like seeing right there. I think that's the biggest problem. It's like you don't have no indicator as like when your armor is like broken or when your shield or something's broken. Yeah. And I kind of wish that there was like some sort of reminder on screen that tells you your sword is broken, you're borked.
Maybe have like an indicator showing as it starts to weaken, so you can go, oh, switch.
Or use a scroll to help its stuff, forge it.
Yeah, like, boy, that would be great too. But it's like I think you can find those appear so much later. One of the things that I did like is that there's some aspects I find interesting about the game. Like for example, like what I find interesting is like you can technically carry over a lot of your stuff if you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like you can carry over a lot of weapons. I don't know if you figured that out, but you can actually carry over your weapons by buying you can actually buy like I forgot what's it called, but it's like basically any item that you pick up you can.
I think it was called a dimensional slot where you had to buy with the hero points, you use your hero points to buy a dimensional slot in the dimensional
dimensional slot.
To transfer those weapons, stuff that you found in your first quest, to put into other ones. But it takes a while to get good slots for it.
Yeah, and those actually do help out a lot, believe it or not. Like that's one of the things that I suggest if you're gonna play it. One of the things early on is to buy it. Is buy as much slots as you can, and if you find a really good weapon and it's not wasted and it's not withered to death, take it back with you, and it will make your experience getting back to where you are a lot more easier. But there's still like, you know, I still find myself dying a lot of times. I still find myself dying almost in the same places a lot of times too, because it's just like sometimes the enemy play. That's like the thing I hate the most about this game, and the thing that I found the biggest deterrent to the game is that you can get bombarded really easily. You can get overwhelmed by enemies very easily if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. I mean, with our stream, if people want to watch it, it's right there on our YouTube channel, and all to watch my screenplay. I died seriously a whole bunch of times because of those enemy spawns that I didn't know were there in that dungeon. I decided, like, oh, there's a dungeon there, let me go in, and there were just 4 of the strong enemies right at the front that just killed me.
Hell, your sheer amount of deaths led to the title of that episode for the week. Once Miguel dies.
Yep.
I was originally going to do too much news, and then was reminded, oh wait, Miguel was playing One Way Heroics and died all the time. And then thus, the one where Miguel dies became the title. We didn't interrupt, but I just thought that was just, you know, a little anecdote to your getting ganked story. The kids still use that word? Can I still say ganked?
I think so.
I always liked that word. It was a good replacement for the word jumped, because when you say you jumped but in a game, it doesn't really work well. You're like, you weren't really jumping. Gang just like, yeah, the computer just decided to just gang up on me and horribly kill me. It's like, yeah.
But yeah, and I think that's the biggest problem is like there's no way to defend yourself when you're being overwhelmed by a lot of enemies. I think that's the biggest problem with me with the game. I'm trying to figure out, like, the game itself is just like, I don't know, it's like it's old school, but also it's also kind of old school in kind of a negative way, in my opinion. Like maybe this game would have benefited more if it was not made. If this game was not made to be like the after. Like, it feels like this game should have benefited more if this game was not a game that was designed to be made right after. It feels like the game was designed like a game that was made right after Dragon Quest, more than it was a game that was designed much later than that. I think they should have taken a lot more cues from games like later on, and a lot more better roguelites. Like, for example, I don't know what one really good roguelite they could have used the example. I mean, how long, like, this game came out in 2010, I believe? Or was this kind of recent, this game being come out? Because, like, if this case... I was gonna say, if that's the case, if it came out, like, a couple years ago, it could have benefited from taking cues from games like Rogue Legacy, where you can level up and you can like apply a lot of those level ups to your next generation of your genealogy, rather than just dying and you're back to square one. That's, I think, something that's like I kind of wish that they would have not implemented, just you dying all the time and you're back to square one.
Well, there are other options too. I don't know if you've noticed it, but when you get to certain villages, they have a save option. where you can save your progress or your rank there. That way.
Well, okay, this game came out this once.
So if you die, you can continue back to where you were before. So you're like, oh, I had a better strategy for this part than I thought I did. That kind of stuff.
Yeah, and like I said, this game, like there's gonna be fans of these types of games. Maybe I'm not the fan for this game. Maybe I'm not the maybe roguelites are not my thing. Maybe certain roguelites are work for me, but this is not kind of like my kind of roguelike I would be playing a lot of. I do like the game, don't get me wrong, and I'll recommend it if you can find it on sale. But it's not the kind of game I would recommend. If I wanted to give a roguelike recommendation, I'd recommend a lot more Binding of Isaac.
Yeah, you had your obsession with that a while ago.
So, what are your thoughts on the game?
My thoughts on this
dying
game,
a lot.
I enjoyed it a lot, and it's a frustrating game for sure. But then, when the game isn't frustrating where it gets you shouting to be made, sometimes you need to have those games to have a good amount of fun. Especially at my expense, it was like last week when we streamed, where you guys just completely didn't have a good amount of it at my expense.
Yeah, it's fun watching you die. It's also sad too, because like, I want to see Miguel get further in this game, but just watching you just boom right into a wall of monsters, I was like, and now he's crushed and killed horribly.
We're getting trapped in a dungeon and I can't break the gate or the wall to escape the darkness that approaches.
Good times.
Yep.
But yeah, what's your final verdict on it, Miguel?
That's what it was. I enjoyed it, and I will continue playing it until I get bored of it.
Alright. Well, it's kind of good. Nice to have a head-to-head review where you guys actually do have a nice variance on opinion, because I think the last time we tried a head-to-head, I believe it was Ground Zeroes, where you guys were both very much in the same boat with how you felt about everything.
Yeah, well, we just loved it.
You loved it, but both wished it was longer.
Yep.
I believe I went back to that one, and that's exactly what you guys both said. Like, I wanted it to be longer, but it was good for what it was.
That's what Phantom Pain is for.
Oh my gosh, yeah, but we don't need to get into a whole discussion of Phantom Pain at this point, because that would just take over, and it would add another hour to this podcast.
Yep.
There's the constant joke we were making about the new Metal Gear Online, and just like, yeah, it would add an hour to this podcast. We don't want to do that.
Metal Gear Online. So,
go on, Ramses.
No, that's pretty much my thoughts on the game. It's like, you know, it's a pretty decent rogue. Like, it's just the problem is, like, you know, this game kind of feels like it was designed. It kind of feels like it was designed at the wrong place at the wrong time.
And that can happen. It all just depends. You know, I've had no hands-on, so I can't go and give my feelings one way or the other on it. But you know, that's kind of the reason why I wanted to do the two-sided, is I wanted to get the different opinions. I would like to do it more often for reviews. I mean, the retro reviews are one thing, but for covering, you know, maybe some of the indie games or some of the bigger releases, it's nice to have that head-to-head where you have people with different points of view.
I don't know how different my opinions are too. Well, they're very different, but...
Well, the problem is, getting someone to play something I play is the difficult part. We're just like, what are you playing? Oh, another JRPG. Oh, good. No one else in our group plays JRPG, so have fun with that.
Well, I do play some JRPGs there, Jared.
That's true.
Same here.
Yeah. I know you guys both do. It's just... My point being that I don't think either of you have played any in more recent memory.
Well, but, yeah, that's a problem, yeah.
Yeah, well, for me, it's been a kind of a thing.
Besides the Bravely Default demo.
Yeah. Well, everyone had to play that one, because that was awesome. And it's one of those games that just kind of, I don't want to say it slipped through the cracks for me, it's just, I have so many games lying around that it's one of those, do I need to buy a new game, or can I just go through some of my older games? Like, I got 4 RPGs lined up on my PS3, and I'm going to be spending several weeks away from my PS3, so that's great. Oh, I got all these RPGs I want to play. Good thing I'm not going to be near my PS3 for a while, because I'll be visiting family. Although, I do have my old Xbox, so I'll just dig out something on my Xbox. That'll be fun. Yeah, do that too. So it's definitely one of those things that will make my whole list of what I've been playing very different. But the good news is, because I'm on vacation, it's just really going to be me gaming the whole time. I'll be gaming, I'll be reading comics, I'll probably occasionally watch TV, and then my buddies will come over for bad movie night. So my vacation will at least be fun. Not that anyone listening to our stream cares about my vacation plans, but whatever. We're at a point in the show where we have almost nothing left to talk about, which is sad.
Yeah, I thought we'd have a lot more, but it's like, what the hell?
It's the holidays, and we're just all kind of at a point where it's like, can Christmas come? We want some new stuff to play with. No, for me, it's just that I'm so obsessed with my trip, because I'm one of those fear of flying guys that I can't. It's what I can talk about and what my brain will let me kind of get into is not nearly as extensive as I'd like it to be. And normally I can come up with something here where we somehow get into, especially you and me, Ramses. You know, you and I can get into some crazy like debates or long conversations, and it's just not going to happen this week, sadly.
Yeah, and then Miguel the referee here is gonna like break us up like we're a UFC fight. I'm just mounting on you.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you know, maybe to break it up, I'll talk to you guys a little bit about something, and I guess I can talk a little bit about what I've been watching recently. It's a good, and maybe a sort of a shout out to this person right here.
Oh, by all means.
Kinomania on YouTube. He has he hosts videos called the Dendy Chronicles, and Dendy Chronicles is a Russian-made series about like this guy's like kind of like, you know, tale of talking about this guy's tale of living in Russia and not having access to a Nintendo, but having like various family codes available to him. And it's interesting the stuff that he talks about, like especially the culture in Russia, like when it comes to bootleg games like that. It's insane. It's almost like, wow, it's utterly insane that these things happen. It's like he says like, okay, in the United States and the rest of the world, we know like there's only like a handful of Mario games they made just with Mario official. And then what he does is in Russia, we believe that all these games, that even the bootleg games and bootleg reskin of games were like legit games.
Oh wow.
And what he did was like, he would show like, okay, these are the games that you would officially think that these would be like canonically the Mario games that came out. And then he's like, here's what we thought in Russia, we thought the games that came out. And he just started piling on like cart after bootleg cart. You're like, oh my god. And it's like, it goes on for like about a solid minute of him just unloading all these carts.
I've seen some of those weird bootleg games that have come out of both Mario, especially Mario gets a lot of the bootleg stuff where it's Mario, but you can clearly tell that the levels were originally like Sonic levels or something.
Yeah.
They threw Mario in, some weird stuff like that. And I've always wondered what country, you know, some of these weird bootleg hack jobs come from. And, you know, I actually wouldn't mind to watch a series that would discuss some of that stuff and the origin, especially if you grew up with it, versus, you know, over here where we look at them as oddities, you know, in other countries, you know, like in China or something, they might look at one of these games as, oh my gosh, that was like my third grade graduation present or whatever.
Yeah, he talks a lot about that kind of thing, and it's weird because like it gets weirder, like the TV shows and stuff like that. They used to like gaming TV shows on Russian television, and they would legitimately promote these bootleg games as like legit products. And one of the reviews I remember, like he was talking about was they were talking about a reskin of Joe and Mac for the Nintendo using Mario. And they highly praised that game. They highly praised that game. And then another reason.
Well, Joe and Mac is a good game.
But here's like that would be something.
Here's where it gets.
I enjoyed it. I know maybe some people didn't, but I actually enjoyed the Joe and Mac Super Nintendo game.
I did too.
Those are
my favorites.
Okay, good. Because in a weird way, you just kind of trailed off, and I'm like, oh, is this a trail off like a, yeah, Joe and Mac, that was great, or Joe and Mac? The hell's it the people who like this series?
Yeah.
Or do you also like Toki? Like, yeah, I actually did like Toki. I don't know why people wouldn't like Toki. Well, Toki Arcade, actually, not the crappy ports were all graphically inferior. Toki's arcade game was actually a lot of fun.
Anyways, getting back to what I was Jesus Christ, that really went long with it. Anyways,
Not. It was just a brief talk about 2 arcade games. Or an arcade and a Super Nintendo port. Story about this, okay? Sorry.
So the guys who were on a TV show who thought this game was a legit game, you know, they highly praised the game. Then they talk about a game then they talk about Joe and Mac, and they're like, this reskin of this Mario game is actually vastly inferior to the Mario game we reviewed a couple of shows back. And my mind literally just blew up at that point. Like, I had to, like, literally
didn't get the original games. Like, that's the weird part for that in my mind.
Yeah, it's like they're like, to us we have a basis as like what those games were. If you showed us like a bunch of those games, like, yeah, I know what those games are. But it's like in some countries that was not the case, and it's so weird to hear these stories and he nonchalantly just says it. Oh yeah, that's what happened. But to us, that information is like, wow, that actually happened.
Yeah.
And it's like, I just still can't believe that actually happened. And like, no one that stepped up and said, why is Mario dressed up like Fred Flintstone?
You kind of want to see what some of the reskins of those games look like with the Mario designs. But it's really strange that Mario became like the thing for a lot of these games, and I'm like, I know Mario's popular, but do you think a game about cavemen throwing, you know, random objects at dinosaurs would not be popular? Or, you know, when Sonic's not good enough on its own? Oh, that's, by the way, this is also excluding all the weird ports as well, where it's like, hey, this is the Genesis version of Super Mario World. And you're like, what? Like, yep, Genesis Super Mario World. So there's things like that too, where you're like, how did that even happen? What list of events occurs that makes someone make that weird port of a game? And a lot of it does seem to be built around Mario, which I just find really fascinating. They actually go into why it was Mario chosen over everything else, or was it just because he was a rotund white man that they're like, hey, that's relatable?
I don't know. I thought just some bootlegs that are just so freaky. It's just, I don't know. And it's like, maybe because Mario is so identifiable, you can go down the street and be like, hey, it's a Mario! And it's and he can put his head on anything, it's like, that's fine. Like, you know, it will sell like gangbusters, I guess. Even if it has no relation whatsoever to Mario, you can like sell about a billion things of Mario with it. So you just put his face on it.
Because it's one of those things that it was definitely one of those little things I was thinking, like, what if it became Link, and suddenly we had like, oh, here's ActRaiser, but you play as Link, and here's Magic Sword, but you play as Link, and here's Final Fantasy, but you play as Link.
Jeez.
Like, oh, you're Final Fantasy 4, but Cecil is now Link. You're just like, this is weird. But Rosa's still Rosa, so instead his love interest is Rosa instead of Zelda. And then Gobbleaz becomes Ganon. It's really weird, and you're like, okay.
Okay, so he's my brother now? What? Huh?
Ganon is Link's brother the whole time. What?
Spoilers to
game that came out in 1991.
Yeah.
Or 1990.
This is like the. I'll show. Like, yeah, I'll link it also on the Twitter. But this is what I'm talking about right here. Just like, just the batshit insanity of some bootlegs.
It's a fascinating subject, and it's always nice when you watch some of the various video game reviewers out there who do get their hands on one or two of them and do a whole analysis. Heck, I actually saw someone, I think there's a couple different people who've done analyses of bootleg toys as well. So
I like
about the, what's the superhero one that everyone always loves to make fun of? Superpower. I think it's just called Superpower, isn't it?
I guess.
I know there's one they call like Superpower or something like that, and it has like Batman and like Power Rangers and
Shrek,
yeah.
Shrek.
Because the greatest hero of them all, the defender of the swamp, Shrek.
I love those weird bootleg toys. Those amuse the hell out of me. And I still want a Robert Cup. That's still on my list of things I want.
I'll see what I can do.
I want a Robert Cup, and if I can get a second one, I will give the second one to my friend Robert. Like, I found a toy of you, and he's like, Robert Cup, sweet. That's my shelf. But Robert is actually a cop. He's a programmer. Not exciting.
I was gonna say, for me, bootleg games are like, oh my god, I can't see them, I cannot watch them, but they freak the fuck out of me. I don't know why they do, but they do.
Too, actually.
What?
I've heard a lot of them play for crap. Like the controls just don't work right.
Well, no, I'm freaked out by it. Like legit. Like legitimately, I'm freaked out by that kind of thing. Like, don't bring me a bootleg. I will punch you in the face if you do. Like that's not a threat. That is a threat to everyone that brings you a bootleg game or anything like that. I will punch you squaw in the face.
Well, what about like homebrews where someone like makes their own like Zelda game using all the sprites and stuff from Zelda 1?
Well, that's fine. But it's just like, I don't know why the Chinese bootlegs freak me out. It comes to whether it be like the bootleg toys, the bootleg anything. It freaks the fuck out of me. I don't know why. It always has, and it always will be. And I'm like, thinking about Stevie Shivers.
It's really weird that you get such an extreme reaction. I'm fascinated by it. Like, if I knew someone who had them, I'd have to play it just to go say, dude, I played Super Mario 3 on the Genesis. It's like, what? Yep, Super Mario 3 Genesis. You know, or I played Sonic 4 on the N64. It's like, what? There's no Sonic 4? I'm like, I mean, I played Sonic 4 now, but there wasn't like a Sonic 4 at the N64 time period. And I go, yep, I totally played that. Like, I don't know, I have a weird obsession of wanting to play strange games like that.
I can live my life without it. Thank you very much.
That's understandable.
Yeah.
You, Miguel, what do you feel on weird bootleg games?
Bootleg games?
Yeah.
I don't have much opinions on them because I don't have very. I never really experienced much of the bootleg thing, to say the least. There are a few of those that I've like seen that came off of Mexico and stuff that it's like, wow, that's just, you know, funny. They made that kind of deal, you know.
Okay. Apparently Lucy has an opinion as well.
Yeah. She does.
Lucy's played many of those games. Apparently, I can speak dog. I give the dog whisper, and she says that she's played many of those games. They're crap, and that she she wants more treats.
Too bad.
Like I said, it's an interesting subject, and I'm actually curious. I'll have to watch that video series.
I linked both of those links to our on our Twitter as well for the request of Miguel.
Well, I was also saying that the request to put it into the Twitch chat too for the people that are watching.
I don't think there's anybody there right now.
I honestly don't know. I can't see how many people are in there.
Nope. It's just me and the wall.
Yeah, I've not been logged in because I'm paying attention to our audio wavelengths and stuff like that. So sorry about that. I haven't been watching any of you play.
Well, we still love you, Jared.
Yeah. Well, at this rate, one of us at a time. Whoever wants to go first.
Yeah.
Oh no, you go first, Ramses.
I don't know. That's my thought.
Originally give this episode a title based making a long Street Fighter title joke. I think I'm going to turn it into No One Knows What to Say.
Yeah.
Literally, I'm so sorry. It's one of those. It's been one of those. It's been one of those weeks.
It really has. And we're already at the kind of hour-and-a-half mark, so I can technically wrap the show if we're all ready to wrap, unless Miguel has anything else to say.
Whoa!
That hit the mics.
Sorry.
I think you can delete that when you audio edit, Jared.
I will.
But yeah, I think we're pretty much done with the show. And I got nothing else to talk about unless you guys got anything else.
Nope, that's it. So, for Ramses, Miguel, Baby Miguel, and...
Don't call off just yet, Jared, sorry.
Oh.
Sorry for cutting you. Don't call off just yet, didn't call off. But yeah, those of you who watch, thanks a lot for watching. You'll see this episode of Secret Stage on our main page on Scarlet Rhapsody, so make sure you guys check it out live, edited, so that way you don't have to listen to a whole tirade of live stuff going on. If you're interested, you can watch the unedited live stream podcast on our YouTube channel, which will be up shortly as soon as this is over. Also, be sure to follow us on Twitch. You'll know when we start streaming. Follow us on there. And also, every Saturday is our Secret Stage Saturday stream. We usually tend to start at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So if you would like to join us, please do. And anything else? Oh yeah, also make sure you subscribe to our Twitch. Not our Twitch, our Twitter channel, our Twitter feed. It's SR_Secret Stage. Make sure you do that, everyone. And, thanks a lot for joining in on our live podcast. As well.
Also, one more thing, Miguel. Subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Oh yes, subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. It's on our YouTube. It's I believe it's youtube.com/Secret Stage Games. If that doesn't work, do a search for Secret Stage and then channels. It should be the topmost one.
Very good verbal NASCAR, guys. Very good verbal NASCAR. And until next time, this is Jared for Ramses, Miguel, Little Miguel, and Background Becky saying, game over, and winners don't use it.
And the show's over. I will stop this live streaming.
Oops, I need to hit the stop button on the record. There we go.
Why did? Oh my God! Now I remember.